The shout for player of the season is now in. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens, but there are 8 nominees and it has caused a few issues. Joining me to debate this is the wonderful Adi Oladipo. I haven't seen enough of Adi. It's a joy to have you back on the channel, Adi. It's been far too long.
Thank you. It has been a while.
You have been exceptionally busy. I've been following your travels, man. You've been all over the place. You're off to Saudi again soon?
Off to Saudi on Sunday. Just got back from Vegas. Before that, as you say, was in New York. So it's been a busy few weeks. But I miss this. I miss talking football because obviously all I'm doing abroad is talking boxing. And
it's
let's
a joy,
talk about my first love.
Football is unrivaled, isn't it? As brilliant as it is, it's completely unrivaled. It's completely unmatched. And at this stage of the season, you know, when the jeopardy's so high, brilliant games in the Champions League, there's just so much to talk about. It's so
I'm almost upset it's ending. I know we've got the Euros and obviously we're going to get into transfers and we'll probably do a few videos on transfers. I'm upset that the Premier League is coming to an end.
Yeah.
And it makes me kind of want to rewind and watch games I missed. That I was like, I'll watch that one another time.
Yeah.
I know. Do you know what I mean? Or you just don't tune in.
But the thing is as well, there's just so much to get your teeth into. Like this Player of the Year debate, I think they've kind of got it wrong. You know, when I look at the players that have been nominated, and one of the 8 that we're about to discuss are going to be awarded Player of the Year.
Yeah.
As much as I think the ultimate winner has been nominated, so it's not a travesty.
Yes.
I think that players have been nominated who don't necessarily deserve it. I think that players haven't been nominated who most certainly do deserve it. So we really do need to have a look at this and get stuck into it.
You know, we're very lucky over here. Well, I'd say very lucky. Some might say unlucky. In America, when you say basketball, if you get chosen for the NBA All-Star team, which basically means you're one of the best players in the NBA, it affects your contract. Like you get a bit of a bumper on your contract financially.
So it matters.
Yeah. Well, over here, I don't think that is the case. It doesn't matter like that over here. You might get a little bonus from your sponsor, but it doesn't matter like that over here. If it did matter, I think the players would have a sort of a bit of more of an uproar. We fans kind of get tribal with it, don't we? But I think players would have an uproar. So I wonder if they're ever going to introduce that if you get nominated, you get a bit more money.
I doubt it because I think the award in itself, it's prestigious.
It's massive.
I think it's prestigious and the players would want it for that reason. Yeah. The players that are nominated, Arsenal have 2 nominees.
Fair.
Which I think is correct considering their season. Manchester City, considering their season, also have 2 nominees. I would say that both clubs have the wrong nominees, but probably the right amount. Okay. There's then a representative from Chelsea in Cole Palmer.
Fair.
Newcastle United have a representative in Alexander Isak.
Surprising. You know what it is? When you dig deeper, you might say fair. But on the surface, surprising. Yeah. How bad? Newcastle have been awful this season.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's a bit of a surprise.
Virgil van Dijk's nominated for Liverpool and Ollie Watkins has been nominated for Villa.
Fair,
let's explore each in its own right. Should we start with Arsenal?
Yeah.
So Arsenal have 2 representatives. Martin Odegaard has been nominated for Arsenal, which I think it's not that I think it's surprising, it's the omission. Like the fact that Martin Odegaard has been nominated, I don't really have an issue with that. But the fact that Bukayo Saka hasn't, that doesn't really ring true for me.
Yeah, I do wonder if this was a 12-man list, I do wonder how many more Arsenal players would be in it. Because I think you're right. I think Saka, 16 goals, 9 assists, is unlucky. Arsenal have the best defence in the league by some distance, I think. Yet none of their defenders are on the list.
No, that's
Do you know
weird.
what I mean? So no Ben White, no Saliba, no Gabriel.
So the 2 Arsenal players that have been nominated, Martin Odegaard, Declan Rice.
Yeah.
Do you agree that those 2 players should be in this conversation?
No.
Really?
No. Declan Rice, absolutely. Declan Rice, 100% could be one of the favourites to win it. I think he should be. Anytime a player that costs the amount Declan Rice has cost, and we don't even talk about it anymore.
No.
That's when he's a great signing.
You know when a football chant sung by a tribal, partisan, biased crew is actually true. So they sing about him. They sing that he's a bargain at 100 million.
It's crazy.
Which I think they probably say, or at least started to say, tongue in cheek. But it's true. Yeah. He is a bargain. He's a bargain.
I don't know if he's a bargain.
He is.
I don't know if he's a bargain.
He's a bargain at 100
I just don't think. Maybe he is. I mean, if come the end of the season, he's the reason they win the league.
Look at what he does for them.
It's frightening. I think it's frightening.
I can't believe, like when he went there, I knew that he was a very good player. I knew that he was capable of getting to the very top, and I thought that he had a wonderful, illustrious future ahead of him. But I didn't think he was this. I didn't think he was this good. He's turned into everything. Goal scorer. He's turned into, provides goals as well. He's an assist. He takes their corners. Yeah. He's he's a box-to-box
He's your box-to-box.
He's a gladiator.
We've been waiting to see a proper box-to-box midfielder. Because now it's all numbers in it, 4, 6, 8, all that nonsense. We've been waiting to see. Okay, who is he? He does. He literally ticks all those boxes. Like if Arsenal were to go down to the point where Saliba can't play, I think he could play centre back.
Yeah,
he's done that as a youth player, hasn't he? So yeah, he's
so
he's
Declan Rice is in. The next Arsenal contender is Martin Odegaard.
Wrong.
If I were to pick another Arsenal player this season, I just think it has to be Bukayo Saka.
Oh, interesting. I would have said Gabriel.
No, you're right.
I would have said Gabriel.
Hang on a minute, you're wrong.
Why am I wrong?
Because it's Ben White. I don't like Ben White. Everybody knows.
No.
I passionately dislike Ben White, in fact.
Yeah.
But he's been
You know why I say Gabriel over Saliba or Ben White? It's because everyone would always tell me Saliba's the next Van Dijk.
Yeah.
And it could be true. Who knows? But yet every single Arsenal fan has told me Gabriel's had a better season than Saliba.
He has.
Obviously, look, we don't watch every Arsenal game. I'm not sitting down watching 95 minutes of Arsenal.
Nearly,
actually. You're right. Actually, you do a lot on the club, don't you? And he's been the guy for them this season at centre back.
As well.
He's massive. He's a bit of a monster. He's got a frame like Van Dijk. He does a bit of everything. And yeah, but I thought the last couple of seasons, I thought that edge might be a bit too much. Could get sent off. Could get yellow cards. Doesn't really happen. He's reined it in.
I think you're right. Unless you're allowed more than 2 Arsenal players in this nomination. Does Ollie Watkins deserve to be here?
You know what it is?
Should it be 3 Arsenal players? They're going to finish the season with 89 points. They got to the quarterfinals of the European Cup.
You know my issue with Saka being in, I don't know, if we're being brutally honest, 16 goals, 9 assists. Brutally honest.
It's heavy.
Mate, Salah's numbers are way better than that, and he's had an awful season. Jared Bowen's numbers are better than that. I mean, these are not astronomical numbers from a player as good as Salah for me to say force him in. Again, Salah's had, I think, the worst season, since he's joined the club. And Salah's got more league goals than Saka.
God, it's difficult.
So I don't think Saka should be in.
Do you know what else might do Bukayo Saka a bit of a disservice? Yeah. The form that he's displayed in the past, even last season. So
it's been so good.
We are normalised to brilliance. I know. We judge him by a different yardstick.
That's the
which
way
is why Ollie Watkins is in. Ollie Watkins is in because he's done better than he's ever done.
Better than we all expected.
But he's not done better than Saka this season.
He's got more goals and assists. He's got more goals and more assists.
But he's not done it for a team that are potentially going to win the league.
Yeah, team could be in the Champions League.
Exactly. Look, I don't know, but then again, I suppose Isak hasn't had as good a season as Gabriel. He hasn't.
Has he not? 27 games for Newcastle in the league, 20 goals.
Bloody hell.
So some will though counter it by saying he's been injured for how many games? How many games is he? 38.
I think he's a brilliant
By
player.
the way, I think he's sensational.
Do you not just, sometimes a player just has a transfer in them.
Yeah.
And you can just see it. Like,
he's gone.
I could be wrong here, right? But don't you think that Garnacho just feels like a Real Madrid player one day?
Yeah.
Like he just
if he continues
scoring those dazzling goals,
he's gone and it's just accepted.
I feel like Alexander Isak just feels Arsenal to me.
I hate for you to say that, but
you are
right. No, you're right. I hate it because I do think that left side, Martinelli, Trossard. I feel like Isak. I know he plays sometimes through the middle for Newcastle. Man. I think him coming off that left, Henry-esque.
Yeah,
I do whatever he wants.
But I think could you imagine how outrageously threatening their front line would be if you persisted with maybe a Trossard, who I think is wicked.
Yeah.
Trossard on one side, Saka on the other. Isak through the middle.
Don't want to think about it.
Solves all their problems.
Don't want to think about
it. Solves every problem they have. Yeah, and then you've got Gabriel Jesus as an amazing deputy to almost any of those positions.
Yeah. I think they would actually offer up Jesus with money for Isak. I really do.
I think you need Jesus. You need Jesus as well.
Yeah, I just don't think Jesus will accept
being second string. He could have stayed at City to be
what his thing is now.
Yeah,
and he's now fighting to start where before he was a guaranteed start when they bought him. But yeah, I think Isak with those kind of numbers might deserve to be in it. There's a couple others, but he's one of those where I was like Isak. But then when you say 27 games, 20 goals. For a poor Newcastle side, it's heavy.
It's heavy. What about Virgil van Dijk? Has he done well? Has he got lucky here?
Tad bit lucky.
Liverpool, they don't feel very resolute at the back.
No.
They concede a lot of goals. They seem to concede first all the time.
Yeah, he's had it really hard though.
He has.
He's had it really hard. I mean, when I look at what he's had to deal with, I mean, he's had 3 or 4 centre-back partners. So he's had Gomez with him. He's had Matip with him. He's had Konate with him. He's had young Quansah with him. Trent's not been there. Robbo's been off injured. He literally is doing it by himself. There's no number 6 sitting in and holding. McAllister's not a 6. Endo came in, but he's not. I like him. He runs about, but he's not. So Van Dijk, I feel like he literally had to try and be the glue for the whole back line. And he's just ran out of steam towards the end. Liverpool ran out of steam, but I think he was the reason we kind of were pushing to get there. Because none of our forwards were hitting numbers, were they? I mean, none of them were killing it in the scoring chart. So
no, I certainly don't think that he's
just based on effort.
I don't think he's had a bad season. Far from it. I just don't think he's been anywhere near, even close to being the best defender in the league this season.
That's the problem.
There are defenders.
There are other centre backs. Yeah, I agree.
There are defenders all over.
Yeah,
the place.
both of those Arsenal. Yeah,
and if we're doing defenders, Ben White as well.
Yeah, I don't Stones.
Diaz.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I mean, I think you'd almost go like Vardiol has turned it on where necessary this season.
I don't think he's been as good. He started poorly. I don't think he's been as good. And he's been lucky. He's played left back. I think he's not had the pressure Van Dijk's had on him.
What about this as a theory then? Do you deserve to be nominated cumulatively? Like, for example, does Virgil van Dijk deserve a nomination in the way that Lionel Messi deserved a Ballon d'Or? In the way that Leonardo DiCaprio finally got the Oscar? You're just brilliant for so long that you almost have a place in this conversation because of who you are, what you represent, and what your track record is.
You know what I mean? I know what you mean. I can imagine the people that are putting this together just think, Virgil van Dijk, innit? Like, it's almost one of those ones where you find a reason not to put him in as opposed to a reason to put him in.
Yes.
He's one of those ones. It's a bit like Haaland now, where how many goals he got? 20, put him in. Whereas many of us don't really... I know Haaland's top goal scorer, but it doesn't look like he's had a Haaland season. So some people just get in because of who they are. And maybe Van Dijk's... By the way, it's not been a bad season, but it's not been like other defenders that should be on this list. I admit that as a Liverpool fan, he's not been as good as Gabriel and Saliba.
Does Ollie Watkins deserve a place on this?
I think so.
You think he does?
I think he does.
I think he's been brilliant.
I think he does.
I think he has been brilliant.
I think he does. He's been the main catalyst in this Aston Villa team get into the... I know you might laugh, but the quarterfinal of the Europa Conference League and become Champions League football. But they're going to make it. They're making Champions League football. And he's the reason. Him and probably Emi Martinez are the reason. He scored so many goals and he's assisted so many.
Yeah.
It's goals and assists. Yeah, it's frightening.
He is brilliant. Yeah. He is truly brilliant. And then obviously the ones that we have no real issue with. Erling Haaland, Cole Palmer, Phil Foden.
No, none at all.
No issue there.
None at all. It's weird with Haaland, isn't it? Because there was a time when you felt like Cole Palmer could catch him. Ollie Watkins could catch him. He scored 4 in a game. It was like, see you, lads.
Yeah. I think Erling Haaland, it's a very interesting one. So I think there's somebody far more intelligent than me would be able to break this down. I think there's something sociological about this, like psychological, where you kind of, you know, the way that the human brain is normalised to brilliance so quickly, and we kind of get bored of something. Something burns bright, and then we kind of go like this. Rather than going, that is incredible, we go, do it again, do it better, do it bigger, be stronger. And you're like, because he didn't score the amount of goals that he scored last season, we go, nah, he's been a bit off. But he's going to win the Golden Boot. Nah, he's been a bit off.
It's mental.
It's mental. It's a psychological deficit in the human brain. Yeah, like we did it a little bit with Cristiano Ronaldo. Yeah. You know when Ronaldo was like, because he wasn't scoring nearly 100, we're like, finished.
Yeah, I remember when his first season back, Ronaldo, and he got 24. And it was like, it's not 40 though, is it?
Yeah.
He always gets 50, so he's dropping off. And I was like, got 24.
His goals, I remember the season at Manchester United, his goals alone were responsible for 10 points in the Champions League group.
There you go.
He was just personally
him doing
10 points. And you had certain Manchester United fans going, don't really feel it, don't really see it, not really doing it. You're like, are you crazy? This guy is smashing it up.
And that's kind of Haaland. He had that cold patch. He did have it, hence the Roy Keane sort of League Two player thing. But he's just gone bang.
Yeah.
Like no other player in the Premier League can do. Like he just scores 4.
Yeah.
No one else is doing that. Everyone's getting 1s and 2s and they're scraping along and it's nice. He goes 4, 2, 3, bang.
Yeah.
And he just does it.
Haaland, I think the problem that he will always... The reason why he will struggle is because there's an emphasis in the way that people consume football these days on beauty. Being...
As opposed to numbers? I think there's an emphasis on numbers.
Numbers
have gone crazy.
But also beauty. So Erling Haaland doesn't look good playing football. Alexander Isak looks beautiful playing football.
Yeah.
You know, there's a huge difference in the way that he
What do you
runs.
prefer? I prefer the Isak. I prefer beauty. Like me and you talk about this all the time. When we talk about our favourite players, history is not going to be good to Ronaldinho in terms of goal scoring or Ronaldo R9.
Yeah.
But in terms of just beautiful players that were just, oh my God, on your eyes. But people are now so obsessed with numbers, and Haaland ticks that box.
I will always love the footballers who made it look easy. They warm my soul. The Gianfranco Zola, the Dennis Bergkamp. They're dancers. It's artistry. I will always warm to that. And I think Alexander Isak is in that mould.
Yeah.
I think Phil Foden, the way that he carries the ball, it's
beautiful.
like, it's Arjen Robben.
Elise reminds me of that as
Elise,
well.
absolutely.
Just
great example.
Like it's nothing.
Like it's kind of, it's sort of what they do is, it's like sexy.
Yeah.
Whereas what Haaland does, it's clunky and it's big and it's a little bit disjointed and it doesn't look poetic.
I know what you mean.
But it's enough effective.
Mate, it's incredible. But unless he does something crazy, which is 50 goals a season, he won't win the awards as he didn't last season.
Well, he was robbed of a Ballon d'Or.
He should have won it.
He was robbed of a Ballon d'Or.
I mean, you can't, and that's when you know he's not going to win this award.
No.
I mean, if you can't win the Ballon d'Or scoring 50 plus, then unfortunately, 28.
Like in terms of actually nailing this down, I think Van Dijk, Odegaard, Isak, Watkins, and Haaland all deserve to be nominated, but they are only ever honourable mentions. They are only ever nominees.
Yeah, it'll be a travesty if any of those 5 win.
I think the winner of this will come from one of 3.
Yeah.
Cole Palmer, Phil Foden, Declan Rice.
Yeah.
All English.
Oh.
Gareth Southgate's living a dream,
Mate,
isn't he?
that must be the first time in a long time.
Possibly ever.
Unless
Because back in the day, it would have been always Cantona or whatever, wouldn't it? It would have always been...
so interesting. I need to do
Cole, and also, as brilliant as I think Declan Rice has been, it could be Rice, don't get me wrong. It could be. I think Declan Rice, I've done nothing but praise him this season.
Yeah.
I don't think it will be Rice. I just don't. I just don't think it will be. Nothing to do with him. I just think that the other 2, their contribution has been outrageous. Like, I actually think you can't really carry Man City because they're not a one-man team. But there were points this season where Manchester City were carried by one man, and that one man was Phil Foden. Like, that did happen.
Mate, he's been outstanding. He is. Is that who you're thinking it's going to be? Oh, okay.
It's not who I believe it should
I
be.
think I want it to be Declan Rice.
Do you think he deserves it?
I do.
Over the other 2?
Yeah, I do.
So you don't agree that, okay, so
I just think him coming in to a team that just needed him. Like that was the final missing piece of the jigsaw.
It was him. It wasn't.
You were it.
Yeah.
Now all the pressure's on you now because I spent a bucket load of money on you. Please, sir, deliver.
Yeah.
Because if it's not, I'm going to get sacked and we're in big trouble. And he's gone bang.
Okay.
He's gone bang, and he's the captain. I know Odegaard wears the armband, but you watch Declan Rice just bark orders and move people around, and he's moved from a 6 to an 8. And he is genuinely, and it gets thrown around a lot, a Rolls Royce. Yeah. Like he's a Rolls Royce of a man, and he can 60-yard passes, 10-yard passes, goals.
It's the goals that surprise me.
He's got everything.
Like, what's he got? He must be pushing, I don't know, 8 goals this season, 9 goals?
Yeah,
he might finish the season on 10.
That's what you want, double figures for your first thing. And can you step up from West Ham, no disrespect West Ham fans, but can you step up from West Ham to Arsenal? Can you do it? Others have failed. Others have gone that journey from smaller club to bigger club. He's done it seamlessly. Like, it's nothing, not a problem.
Yeah.
Not like, I think he's been fantastic.
Yeah. Okay, so
that's my argument.
I was ready to discount Rice, not because I don't rate him. I just think that
the other 2.
Foden has been just magnificent, and I think he is one of the most pure footballers that I've ever seen. I don't know if you would have seen this, Ad. You've been away. I met Sergio Aguero.
Saw it.
Right, speaking to Sergio Aguero is an amazing experience, real gift. We asked him, who do you think's a better player? Rank these players. Kevin De Bruyne, David Silva, Phil Foden. He said Foden.
Interesting.
He said Foden.
That shocks me.
Have you heard Pep Guardiola talk about Foden as well? He said the best young player he's ever coached and all that. And he's just like, do we not necessarily acknowledge the praise of this kid because he's called Philip and he's from Stockport? Do we not get what we're witnessing here? Because I think we are actually witnessing.
It is interesting because you did say Garnacho's on his way to Real Madrid. You're right, and we've got one.
And we've got
already.
one.
We've got
and the reason I think Garnacho's
built.
on his way is because he's called Garnacho and he's
Is it the Man City thing still? Are we still doing the Man City thing?
I don't think so. I don't think that exists anymore.
No?
Not with the treble and Guardiola. And I don't think... I mean, I think Sergio Aguero's generation might be a little bit sneered at because of the Man City thing. We're not ready to talk about, I don't know, I could ask a lot of people, top 5 strikers in the league, and they might not say Aguero, which, when you look at his record, it's probably not right. But, you know, people will always go Shearer. People will always go on. I'm not saying it's wrong, but...
You know the thing about...
I'd say Kane over Aguero, but I think that's probably wrong when you look at the trophy haul.
Yeah. You know, 100%.
When you look at the trophy haul.
The thing about Phil, and the reason I've got Declan, and we haven't even talked about young Cole Palmer yet, is just that he didn't have to land in a club and be the man straight away.
No. He didn't have the pressure.
He could almost hide. He didn't. He's been fantastic. But they almost didn't need him.
No.
Like, he could almost hide.
Yeah.
Because Bernardo would do it. If I feel you don't fancy it today, I'll do it. Kevin would do it.
Far less pressure.
Far less pressure. Literally, this Declan Rice, Partey's been away with the fairies, and it's almost as though you've got to do it, Declan, straight away. You literally have to come in and do it.
However, Oladipo.
Yes, sir.
If that is your metric,
then
I'm afraid Cole Palmer is your answer.
I raise you.
Yeah.
I raise you.
If you're talking about somebody that's had to perform, that's come into a side in disarray, there's been nowhere for him to hide. He's come into a team that have been lacking in basically every ingredient. He's come into a club that is completely and utterly turned upside down. And in amongst this catastrophe, do you know what Chelsea's like for him? Do you remember when you were a bit young and you go to like those mad nightclubs like the Egg in King's Cross and you'd go in there, and when you were like having a drink, it was quite good. But if you actually think about it, it's a nightmare. People everywhere, it's all mayhem, right?
Sticky,
It's mayhem. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. It was loud and tech music and nosebleed tech everywhere. It's like mental. And Cole Palmer just walks in and the music's gone off. Yeah. The music's gone off. Everyone's sobered up.
You know, it reminds me of when you say that scene in Blade. I don't even remember they see Wesley Snipes and music
just stops, right? That's what Cole Palmer has done. He's a child. He's a kid.
How old is he? 20? 21? Okay.
Right, he's a kid. He's a kid. He can't drink in America. Right, he's a kid. And he has come in and he has taken a club like Chelsea by the scruff of the neck, and he has dragged us to a semblance of a season. He has kept Maurizio Pochettino in employment. He has stopped riots on the King's Road. He has at least brought Todd Bowley and Clearlake time.
Did he have any pressure on him doing this?
No, I don't think he did.
And maybe that's where the freedoms come. He came to the club, and I don't know how many Chelsea fans, obviously everyone thought he was a good footballer, getting the Man City squad side. I think he came into the club, I almost felt like it was a free swing for him.
It was, and then it wasn't.
And then it wasn't.
It was, and then he performed a bit, and we're like, okay, we need you to do that again.
And then he did
Score
it again.
Next week. It was you again, mate. Like, I remember he was injured once.
Did you what Dele Alli said about him?
He was injured, and we went, well, we won't win that game. And you're like, wait, what? It's literally that. I think he missed the Arsenal game. You're like, okay, well, we can't. We can't. That's the end of the game.
Smashed 5.
Yeah. Cole Palmer's injured. Well, we won't win the game. Cole Palmer's fit. Arsenal in trouble here. This could be that's one player.
I remember as a Liverpool fan, when we were chasing Arsenal down, before we started falling off, as soon as I saw Cole Palmer injured, I was like, oh, that's that then, isn't it?
Mate, I just cannot believe. Also, like, he's done it all with ease. He's conducted himself brilliantly. Let's also remember that this season, Manchester City have won a European trophy this season. He scored the winner. You've got to factor that in. He's also won silverware this season.
Mate, it's difficult to go against him. I remember when Dele Alli was in the Sky Sports studios and he was talking about Nicholas Jackson and I think Madueke trying to take the penalty from Cole Palmer.
What did Dele Alli say about that?
Dele Alli said, I didn't see them trying to take the penalty when it was the 4-4 game against Man City. Why did none of them step up then? None of them were trying to nick the ball then to score a 91st minute penalty, but all of a sudden, you want to take this one from him. I want him to win Young Player of the Year. I want him to win that. I think he will win that. In fact, he will definitely win that.
I think that's in the bag, isn't it?
It's in the bag.
I actually think
if he does the double, wow.
Is that... man, I'm putting you on the spot here. Is that a thing? Can you do that?
I think you can. I think Gerrard's done it.
Steve Gerrard.
I think Steven Gerrard's done it. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Seen his book over there as well. Have you just read that? Have you literally just spotted his book? Have you just regurgitated knowledge?
I think I done it. I think.
Steve, was he the last
you can do the double. You can do the double.
I don't see how Cole Palmer's achievements aren't comparable to Haaland and Rice and whatever. So if you...
they might win the league. That's the only thing. Foden and Rice
one of them will win the league. Foden or Rice.
Exactly, one of them is going to win the league. And if you're Rice and you've come in and you win the league for Arsenal, they haven't won it for 20 years. What's it? 20,
you're
20
right.
years?
It does matter because we know when I was talking about manager of the season, and I was like, well, if Arsenal win the league, it's Arteta. If Arsenal don't win the league, I think it's Emery.
Good shout. There you go.
You know, so it does count. Okay, fair. So who is your
Declan Rice?
You're giving it to Rice.
I love him. It pains me to say that, but I absolutely adore him.
Imagine, transport yourself to that parallel universe. Imagine if he'd gone to City. They'd have won the European Cup. Yeah. They'd done the treble.
Yeah. By the way, quick one. I know we've got a wrap now. Rodri not being in this list is a bit of a travesty, to be honest with you. Like, Rodri has, like... I don't know. Maybe he's got a problem that he's so good, unless he does something ridiculous. Standards.
No, you're right.
How come Rodri not be in this list?
Gabriel,
What Gabriel? Yeah.
Ben White.
Yeah. All should be in this list. You really,
are they the three?
Really and truly, we could get rid of, I hate to say it, Van Dijk can go.
Watkins. If you're doing this,
Watkins can go.
Watkins isn't
and Isak can really go as well. I mean, Rodri's been just a
But then it's all Arsenal.
Didn't he have that record where he's not lost?
Doesn't get beat. No, and do you know what? I like him as well. Have you heard him after a defeat?
He's mental.
He's mental.
But you know he's a manager.
Winner.
You know he's basically a manager when he's done. Yeah.
He's Sergio Ramos.
Yeah, he's that guy. Yeah.
Love him. Addy, it's a joy to be doing these videos again, mate. Hasn't been happening frequently enough. Please do us a favour, make sure that you subscribe to Addy Oladipo's YouTube channel. The link is in the description below. Have a wonderful night.